top tips to amplify your personal branding. So I'm going to go to my own profile here. Now, I'm not suggesting that my profile is a shining beacon of perfection. I am suggesting that it is complete because I know it's complete. So I am going to go straight to my profile here. All right, and I'm just going to go from the top to show you how it's been branded, but also show you how these things can really make a big impact just by having them complete. So the first thing I'm going to go into is the profile photo. And you'll see here that I'm wearing black and white, and I've got a kind of black, a block color, should say, block color behind me there, like a tangerine color. Now, you can see that if I wasn't wearing black and white, that color would probably wash me out a little bit. So just do be careful of that. There is an excellent site called Remove BG, which is a background remover. And if you go to Remove BG, you'll be able to upload your profile photo and be able to select a color. So just be careful with that. Branding is very important. No pinks, no reds, no purples. Usually safer colors are green and blue for business reasons. I've chosen the color turquoise, firstly because it makes it pop. Secondly, because it's in line with the rest of my branding. Here it's a complementary color. And thirdly, because of the black and white. The other thing you can do, you can see there that there's no mug shot. I'm slightly kind of turned to the camera there, and I've got a nice kind of gaze into the camera there. I'm looking directly into the camera. I'm not looking away. The bonding that you bring by looking directly into the camera is extremely important in a profile photo. So please, even if you're shy of the camera like me, make sure that you do your best to put your best foot forward there. It is a moment in time, and I know that you'll be feeling much, much better once you've done it, taken the plunge. So the other thing you can do is go to edit once you've got your photograph in there, and you can select filter. Now, at the moment, you can see that the original is slightly duller in color there, but as soon as I hit spotlight, that becomes a lot more crisp. There's a lot more clarity in the image there. So choose something that you feel matters to you. And so it's personal to all of us. So keep playing around with that as and when you want to. All right. So the background image, a lot of this I see is missing as well, unfortunately. Or I see the Toronto skyline. I see that a lot in the background images there. So if that's you, audience, if you have a Toronto skyline, my question to you would be, do you work for the Toronto Tourist Board or the Ontario Tourist Board? If not, now is the time to think about changing it. So what you can do is go into Google Images. So let's type in a title there. So let's do project manager and then LinkedIn banner. All right, so what we have here are nice long images, perfect for LinkedIn background image. We also see some oblong ones here. They're kind of more square, should I say there? So those aren't going to work too well. We also see other people's profiles or sample names there, naturally of no interest to us. What we're looking for is something that represents our process as a project manager. So you may choose this one here, for example. And if you want to, you can go in and choose that and then update your LinkedIn background accordingly. The key here will be to choose something that's appropriate, not too busy. You can see that's like hugely busy there on the right hand side where my cursor's going over there. So I would not recommend choosing something as busy as that. It's quite distracting for the eye. You'd have to have a very, very crisp image there on the left. The other thing you can choose as well is indeed where most of the image is on the right and your name is an image is on the left. Sometimes I do see as well people using Canva, they're kind of doing a kind of nice design, but with their name and maybe an office image with a pad and a pen and so on. I wouldn't advise that either. We don't need your name twice. If we think about it, your name is already there. Why would you have that twice? So choose something that is reflective. Also, you may choose something abstract. For example, if we go down here, this one here is what's known as abstract. There's nothing in there that's going to need particularly changing out very often with that. So if you're looking for something that's quite general and you're not having to change it out quite as often, that might be the way to go. So moving into the next section then, I'm going to hit my pencil. I'm in admin mode, which is why I'm able to show you this, of course. You might be following along as we go through this journey in LinkedIn together. If you have your designations, the place to put that is just by the side of your surname there. And the headline here, so career transition coach. So your headline might be an easy one to understand, or your job title might be easy to understand, or you might be like me where you're having to educate quite a bit. So if that's the case, if you feel you're having to educate quite a bit and there's more than one job title for you out there, choose the one that makes the most sense to most people. And you can see there that there is a line to delineate and separate between the job title and the what we call marketing strapline here. The headline is indeed a fantastic place to use your branding to its fullest effect. And you'll see there that I've kept that very, very consistent. Not only have I introduced that by verbal to you in the beginning of this webinar today, but also I have kept that on my LinkedIn, and I will also use it on my resume too. And of course, this remains the same as well. So if you are struggling with your creativity for that, and many of us do, you can whiz straight over to ChatGPT, and that will help you with getting your LinkedIn headline up and running. So here we've got an example, create 20 LinkedIn headlines for the role of project manager. So I'm just going to hit submit, and it will come up with exactly that. So some of them will be what I call ChatGPT cheesy, and some of them might be actually really useful. So please do go through and build what you would like to build, which you feel is most authentic to you. It might be that you decide to take parts of different headlines here, and that's absolutely fine. You know, go with the creativity there. If you're happy with what you see, then you can then copy and paste one of these into your LinkedIn LinkedIn headline section here. A very, very quick and easy way to do that. So other parts of branding here, you can, if you're still working, you can show your current company in your intro if it's a company that you feel proud to work for. If not, you can untick that and it won't show. Again, with the education, I would strongly recommend ticking that in. Employers do like to see that you have had some education and where you've got that education. Sometimes it can still make a difference depending on the industry that you're in. And make sure that, of course, you've edited your contact info. Let's not give LinkedIn any more data than they already have. I always advise people to remove phone number, address, and date of birth from their profile. Okay. So the other place, from a branding perspective and just from the bots perspective, is the open to section. And you can see there, mine's already completed. The open to work here is available. And you can see there straight away, branded very closely to exactly what I'm looking for. And that's only because, look, I'm not really looking for anything else that would be outside of that yet. If you are in career transition and you're not sure how to brand yourself yet, it's worth remembering LinkedIn is not great at working in multiples. So if you've got three different, very different occupations on the go, it will be worth thinking about what your main occupation is and what you want your audience to know you as out there. Do chat through with your career coach, your employability coach, or your employment specialist, job developer. They will be delighted to go through this with you. So, as we mentioned earlier, the About section is a great section for you to be able to market yourself effectively and brand yourself effectively there. If you are certified, this might be a great place to remind people of that. What we're looking for here is what your occupation is rooted in, your practice in what you do. What is your belief system? The one thing that you'll take with you no matter where you go into any particular role. Your key strengths are also a fundamental part of that. Remind people of what your key strengths actually are. So, as we mentioned earlier, what do people keep coming to you for as a team member? Is it because you're able to remain calm and cool in when everybody else around you is in a state of panic? Is it that you're able to give sage advice based on the wisdom as you of a subject matter specialist? Is it that you help build confidence in other people, you empower other people? Whatever the case may be, now is the time to remind your audience of exactly that. And if you're not sure, ask 3 of your former colleagues to help you out. What are you known for? And there you go, your credibility. What do you actually bring? So worth reminding what you bring to the table. It could be a combination of your education and experience. It might be you have a very high level of skill of expertise in your area. If you're in transition, this is about where you're going. Yes, you can bring your transferability. So do use AI and or your coach to help you determine what that transferability is and why that is of value and benefit to employers. If you have experience of what you do across several different industries, now's the time to tell us. Really useful from an employer perspective. Yes, they can check the rest of your profile, but this information might not be so easy to be able to dig out. Let's make it easy for people. And so that's what is represented here. And then if you are doing things above and beyond, let's say, for example, you work for a hospital foundation, but you're also fundraising for volunteer causes outside of that, not necessarily connected to it, but you are still volunteering in your community. That's also a sign, actually, this person is connected to the community service, not just in the job, but outside of that as well. So do feel free to add that in, and then specialities if you wish to add those there. There's also the skills section, a great way to make sure the bots are effectively branding, marketing you there. This is no longer the human bit. This is just about the bots part. And you'll see there, once you start adding these are what I call your pillars of Rome. These are the things that you would take no matter where you went into your next role. Nobody can take these away from you. You'd always be consistently offering this level of service or this particular skill. And you can also reorder these. So you'll see this little line box here. You'll be able to reorder these however you like. Okay. All right, so underneath here, another way to brand yourself, of course, is the featured section. I'm going to whiz past services. So you can add featured here. So you can add posts, you can add newsletters, you can add an article or a link, or what we call rich text media, so that's imagery. Whatever the case, this gives people a flavour really of what you're like to work with, what you're interested in, and of course you can see here that I've given a selection of both what I write and what I'm interested in. So good information there. And of course, you can do the same on your profile as well. Activity actually is an interesting one because employers do look at activity to try and figure out, for some industries, how connected you are to the industry. So, for example, if you are in a position of leadership and you have no activity, no thought leadership, no supportive comments of other people, that might be a red flag for some employers. So it's worth thinking about there. That can be carefully curated. So it doesn't have to be every single day. It can be at least once weekly where you're going in. And so you can post, you can comment, you can add videos, you can add images, you can add documents, whatever the case may be. So keep an eye on that. And also you're able to keep an eye on that with other people. So check out the competition, see what they're doing. Well worth having a look at their branding too. So experience, so how does this help us with our branding? Well, just like a resume would, how we lay things out and how we format things on LinkedIn is actually really important. So what we're trying to avoid is being boring in two different places, as I would say. So if we think about the resume as the past documents, everything you did is in the past. It's usually a little bit more detailed. It's usually tailored exactly to the roles that you're going for, whereas LinkedIn is like a resume, but it's more like a master resume, if that makes sense, because you are not really changing too much into it once you've got the full profile up and running. So it's more of a generalist purpose of branding and marketing. Whatever the case may be, it's important to think about the use of white space here. You'll see that I've got no bullets, no dashes. It doesn't look like a resume, so to speak, but it does have some similarity to it. So what I'd recommend is using that white space very carefully there, just to make it easier for us to read. And of course, the other thing you can do is add your skills in each of your experiences. This is exceptionally important for reasons of the bots. So you're having to deal with human and bot interest at the same time. So the bot part is down here, these skills. And again, you can reorder these into the order of importance as you go. You'll notice here I've got 19. I remember when LinkedIn updated the skills section back in February 2024. Up until then, we had 50 skills allowed on a profile. Now it's 100. And if you ask many recruiters or human resources professionals, they'll say, oh my goodness, I just need 15. I don't need 100. But it's not driven by humans anymore. It's driven by bots. So that's why, knock yourselves out, add as many as you can that makes sense. And again, if you're not sure, let's go back to our ChatGPT here, and you can ask for, so if we do here, list 20 top skills on LinkedIn for project managers. And it will give you exactly those. So if you're struggling for the terminology, this is the place to come. Now, unfortunately, you can't just copy and paste. It doesn't have that facility on LinkedIn. You will have to type these out. It does take time. It's probably one of the most time-consuming pieces of LinkedIn, but once you have it in there, you can keep it ticking over nicely by checking in and seeing what the latest keywords are. That's really important. And of course, the other place you can do that is when you fix your job alerts. Sometimes you may have noticed if there's a job for a project manager, the employer will say, this role requires 10 skills. You have 7 out of the 10 skills. You look at all 10 and you think, hold on, I'm sure I've got a couple more than 7. Yep, I've got these last 3. Let me add these onto my profile. So that's easy if you can add a skill in here. That's absolutely fine. And before you know it, you'll be up to your 100. All right, so that's the experience section for the branding part there. And underneath, The other piece of branding that I want to bring your attention to is the education section here. And a lot of people miss this too. So just a point to make here. The first point is around the age of your education. So for some of us, that might have been a while ago. So you'll see here, the further back my education goes, I don't have years of completion on there. These were completed in 2004. It's not particularly relevant now in 2025, so I have chosen to omit the years on there, so you might choose to do the same. The other thing I've also not done is put the years from and to. There's no need to do that. Employers are just interested from a branding perspective of when you actually graduated or completed the course. That's absolutely fine. You might decide to add in a little bit of information about the activities and societies or the modules or the dissertation you did where appropriate. These are keywords or things of interest to an employer. So please do feel free to add this in. All right. So licenses and certifications, essential. If you have licenses and certifications, this is the section to add it. Some people just forget or they just don't think it's quite as important. For some industries, it's absolutely essential. So here is the place to do it. Make sure you have the years issued where possible and where appropriate. If it was a really long time ago, it might be worth thinking about reskilling. As Mervis and Hall in 1980 said, we are learning a living, not earning a living. We need to keep ourselves up to date and keep our progress up to date as well. That's great for our own branding. It shows our continuous learning and development, and it's also of interest to employers. Volunteering, again, keep it nice and tight to the role you're applying for. Here you'll notice I'm not talking about cat sanctuaries. I'm not talking about things that are not relevant to my role. If it's been a while since you volunteered, this is very common I see in clients, they may have things from 1998 or even 2005. Please do remove them. There's no need to have them on there unless they're absolutely relevant to the post you're applying for. We've gone through the skills. We know we can have up to 59, and we know we can reorder these when you want. So you've got there the reorder option there. So we know how to keep these up to date. And finally, recommendations. Now, if there was ever a section that's fantastic for personal branding, it's this one. And I would strongly recommend that you do get some recommendations from your connections. So it must be a first connection. It can't be anybody who who is a second or third connection. So let's just have a look at that. So I'm going to type in the name of somebody I know who used to manage me. One of my favorite bosses there, Howard. And so Howard is my first connection. So what I can do by going onto his profile immediately there is if I click on more, request a recommendation, and then I can select the relationship. So he managed me. There we are. Let's just get my Zoom bar out of the way there. Sorry, I can't actually see. There we go. He managed me directly. Position at the time, so I was an employment specialist. So I'll put that as a senior. And then here, what I need to do is make sure from my own personal branding perspective, even towards Howard, it's a constant thing we keep going here, is make this as specific as we can. Don't just use the generic. Write to your former boss or colleague and just let them know what you want to be recommended for. So is it a particular aspect of the role you did, or is it a particular quality that you did or brought to the role? Now is your chance. And then as soon as you hit send, your former boss will, or former person that you worked with, former colleague, or even current colleague will be able to give you a recommendation. So that will go to, in this case, Howard's inbox. Howard will do the needful and write his recommendation. That comes to me. And then as soon as that comes to me, I then have to approve it. It doesn't go automatically onto your profile. All right, so that's it, folks. So we have reached the end of our session today. So I wanted to say a huge thank you here to you all for listening today. So I'm just going to share my screen with you here. Hold on, no, that's the wrong one. Sorry, my apologies. We'll just get the right one there. There we are. I think that's the right one. We should be there, shouldn't we? Yes. Okay. All right, so I just wanted to say a huge thank you for watching. And today I'm going to be making sure that you get the slides and, of course, that you get the materials to go with the webinar. And we do have another couple in this series, of course, which is the first one is Transform Your Job Search Using AI. The second is Ace the ATS, How to Optimize Your Resume for Maximum Impact. So please do enjoy watching those two. And I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've gained some knowledge and confidence in how you can market your brand effectively and amplify it using the tool of LinkedIn. Take care and bye for now.